We have talked in sort of big terms about what led to the collapse of Silicon Valley Bank, but we wanted to now zero in on the events of last week and sort of a timeline of how exactly we have come to the place we are today. Actually, last week, the CEO of Silicon Valley Bank spoke at a Morgan Stanley conference. It sounded like business was usual, if a challenging environment, as we know, which it is for tech. And then late on Wednesday, the company announced that they were going to be raising capital through a three-part share sale. First, just a sale of common stock. Second tranche was a convertible offering. And then third, they were selling it directly to a venture capital firm. And that's when the stock started to wobble, when we got the news that they were doing that. And then it came out why they needed to raise that capital, the fact that they had losses on a number of instruments.
And then the withdrawals began. And ultimately, we're here on Friday, SVB shares were halted. California regulators intervened and shut the bank down.
And that's effectively because a bank run was occurring.
Yes.
This is when
the depositors
rush. The lines, right? The online lines, I guess you could say. You had the likes of Peter Thiel, who was encouraging his portfolio companies reportedly to pull their funds from the bank. And then that just snowballed and created a bank run, which always makes me think of It's a Wonderful Life and the classic bank run of people clamoring to get their funds. So that's what led then to the government shutting down the bank. There was a lot of speculation about what would happen next. Would it be like we saw during the financial crisis where pieces of it would be auctioned off to larger banks? That ultimately, however, is not what ended up happening.
No, and then by Sunday, Julie, of course, you had what I think a lot of people didn't realize. Signature Bank was closed on Sunday. So that came out in that joint statement with the Federal Reserve, the FDIC, and the Treasury Department. The U.S. government stepped in and says people with funds deposited at SVB will be able to access their money. And then come today, Julie, we have President Biden speaking, saying the banking system is safe and all of these stocks are under pressure, notably First Republic. Yeah,
First Republic in particular. We just talked to Mark Cooper over at Solomon.
Leaving his money.
Yeah, who has his funds there at First Republic. And the Federal Reserve not just saying depositors are going to get the money back, but creating a new backstop as well for banks that are still out there. Something I forgot to mention is we did get a credit downgrade of SVB last week. First, Moody's warned the bank it was going to be potentially downgrading it. Then they did the share sale in order potentially to stave off that downgrade, but part of its debt got downgraded, and then a full downgrade came from Moody's and S&P Global by the end of the week. So that also helped weigh on the sentiment surrounding the bank.
It's going to be a long week, Julie.